Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. Now, this isn't a review today, I'm actually explaining why I have pre-ordered the Sony a6700. Now, I think everyone knows if you're into photography or into cameras, Sony have released a new camera in July of 2023. And it is the 6700. It is going to be their flagship APS-C body, although some people say it isn't going to be Sony's flagship body, so I'm not quite sure what that means. But I have pre-ordered the a6700. Now, I already own the a6600, which we have here. In fact, I lie. This is the 64. No, it isn't. This is the 6600. See, they're all so similar, I get confused. This is definitely the Sony a6600. It says so on the top that it's the a6600. Now, this was their flagship APS-C camera. It's got 5-axis image stabilization, great battery life, 24 megapixel APS-C sensor, great grip, 4K video, and so on and so forth. It's just a really nice handling camera, and it's probably one of my favorite cameras, certainly my favorite as a go out and about camera and a travel camera, simply because of its compact size. I really like its compact size, and I really do like the battery. It's the FZ battery, Z100 battery. Great battery, lasts flipping forever. So that's what I've been using quite extensively, and I do love the a6600, but I also use a lot the Sony a6500, which was obviously its predecessor. Again, 5-axis image stabilization, but this doesn't have such great autofocus. It also doesn't use the same battery. It uses the FW50 battery, which is pretty lousy really. Battery life has never been great on the 6500, so you carry 2 or 3 spares with you. Not a big deal, but it is a big deal for video. And one of the big advantages with a 6600 is in its video features over the 6500. Particularly for me in the studio here, the 6600 has no video record limit. It doesn't seem to overheat, certainly not in the studio while I'm using it. But the biggest issue, the biggest advantage over the 6500 is no video record limit, and I find that fantastic here in the studio, where with a 6500 it does overheat and you are limited to 30-minute record time on in 4K, provided it doesn't overheat while you're filming with it. But the reason why I've gone with the a6700 is because its features over and above the 6600. This is going to get really confusing because all these model numbers are so similar, but we'll forget the 6500 for now. But I purchased it because of the features for video over and above what the 6600 offers. Now, one of them is 10-bit recording. The 6600 is an 8-bit camera. It isn't a 10-bit camera. Now, I don't think that's going to be a massive improvement for me here in the studio. I don't tend to do color grading, and I don't tend to film an S-Log or anything like that where I do need to grade. I pretty much use what comes out the camera I use for me editing, because I don't really have time for doing lots of color grading. I'm doing a multicam shoot as well, so I tend not to worry about grading the images because it would take so long, particularly when you're doing multicam filming. But that is one area that I wanted to play with, is its 10-bit recording compared to the 8-bit recording on the 6600. The other thing is where the SD card slot goes. On the 6600 it goes in the battery compartment, which I've never been a fan of, and if you've watched my channel a long time, you'll know that I'm not a fan of the SD card going in where the battery is. They've actually put a slot on the side of the camera where the SD card goes. It also has a digital MI shoe. I use the MI shoe a lot because I've got microphones, Sony microphones that go straight into the shoe, and I don't have to use cables. With the new camera, you can do 4-channel audio recording, and it's digital audio recording. This is analog. Again, not a huge thing, but something that I want to have a play with. It's got a 26 megapixel sensor as opposed to the very old now 24 megapixel sensor in the a6600. But all being said, it's still an APS-C sensor, and it's still a pretty decent sensor. That's the sensor in the a6600. And it's the same sensor in the a6500. So, you know, but again, they have made improvements on that. Let me just put this lens back on so the dust don't get onto the sensor. Other improvements is in the autofocus. This has got a face and eye tracking, but now they've added additional features on the a6600 for animal eye detect, for human eye detect, and various other tracking features. They moved some of the function buttons around. Where the video record button is in a silly place on the a6600, it's on the corner here, where on the 6700 it's a big record button on the top. Again, not a big advantage for me because I've pre-assigned the trigger for video on here. And it's got a 3-inch articulating screen. That's a big thing, certainly for video. The 6600 has got this not very efficient flip up screen. And that's fine as long as you're not plugging in accessories into the interface shoe, which I tend to use microphones quite a bit on the interface shoe. But when you do plug a microphone in on there, then that blocks the screen. But on the new 6700, it's a 3-inch articulating screen, so it comes out to the side. So that is fabulous. So that'd be interesting to see how much better that is for me. The only thing is, I do like this type of screen for photography. I much prefer this type of screen for photography. Would have been nice if Sony could have implemented the type of design that Panasonic have done with their G86, where it can either flip up or it can articulate. But the thing is, it would make it bulkier, even if they did do that, and it would make it more expensive because of the way the chassis is and the manufacturer of that particular type of screen. But and also the grip is apparently bigger, although I really do like the grip on the 6600. I'm not sure how much better the 6700 is going to be. So, you know, that's the big reasons why so there's a lot of reasons there, but they're all actually amount to small reasons. I think if you're more into just photography and you've already got the 6600, you probably won't need to upgrade to the 6700 because the photography advancements are nowhere near as many as the video enhancements. But if you're into video more, then I think you'll find the upgrade would be, you know, very, very well worthwhile. But I will, you know, cover that when I get the camera. I'm going to compare it to my Canon R7. I think there's going to be many people doing an R7 compared to the a6600 because they're very similar priced and they're both flagship APS-C bodies. I'm actually filming the close-up shot on my Canon R7. I really do enjoy that camera. It's a fantastic camera. I've got the RF 35mm lens fitted to that because my studio is quite small. I needed an RF, I needed basically 35mm because that's about 50mm in APS-C terms, because it is the full frame 35mm lens on an APS-C body, so it's cropping in quite a bit tighter, which is exactly what I wanted. But yeah, so I've got the RF 35mm lens on the R7. As a wide shot, out of idle interest, I've got my Panasonic G86 with the Panasonic 12 to 35 f2.8 lens fitted to that camera. And then over here, I've got my Canon R50 fitted with the RF 16mm lens. So that's about 25mm lens on my Canon R50 over there. So yeah, love me Canons. I love all cameras really, to be honest. So keep an eye out for future videos on the a6700. But I just thought I'd do this quick video as to why I have decided to get the 6700, and it will complement my a6600 and my a6500, particularly for when I go out and about. It has only got the one SD card slot. I've got used to that on my 6600. That has only got the one card slot. So has my 6500. I've not had any issues with corrupt cards. I think myself, if you're using good quality SD cards, you really shouldn't have a problem. But saying that, if I was to go out and do, say, a wedding, which I wouldn't do anyway, but if I was, I would use my Canon R7. I think I would be quite concerned going out with a camera that has only got one SD card slot. I mean, if you're using it professionally for events, particularly weddings, but events that can't be replicated, then I think the redundancy, certainly for photography, the redundancy is ideal on something like a Canon R7. If you're looking for redundancy for video, then stick an Atomos recorder on. and then you can record internally and record on your Atmos Ninja 5. So I don't see that being an issue for video, but certainly for photography it could be an issue. Certainly not for me, but for some people I guess it would be. So there we go. That's my thoughts on the Sony a6700. I'm getting confused now. That's my thoughts on the Sony a6700. So keep an eye out for more videos on that camera when it arrives, probably be towards the end of July. So thanks very much for watching. Cheers for now, and stay tuned for more videos relating to video photography, podcasting, so on and so forth. Cheers for now. Bye.